In today's video, we'll be looking at how to add a black and white effect in your raw images after you bring it directly inside of Affinity. Before starting the video, if you want the image that we will be working on for this video, please find the link for the image in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks if you are someone who is in a journey to learn Affinity. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first of all, let's bring our raw images inside of Affinity. And in order to do that, I'll open our Finder window here, and then I'll navigate and click on the black and white raw image and then drag it inside our Affinity window like so. And after we drag it in, you can now see that our interface has changed. So what Affinity does with raw images is that whenever we bring in any raw images or open any raw images directly in Affinity, it will navigate or open an entirely new development user interface where we can process the image by fixing many things such as fixing the exposure, brightness, contrast, and more inside of this development mode. And to understand simply, a raw image is an image that has been directly imported or brought after you capture by your professional camera or any DSLR or digital camera. So that is what raw image is, and raw images are unprocessed images. That is, we haven't made any adjustment or any fixes to that images. And in addition to that, raw images will have more details and information compared to our regular JPEG and PNG images. And the next thing that you might notice to identify a raw image is the file format of the image. That is, you might have any weird kind of file format or any file format beside our normal file format such as JPEG or PNGs. Like in our case, if I open the Finder window, you can see that we have .arw file format, and many cameras have their own native file formats depending upon the company that manufacture the camera. So I'll click on our Affinity window back, and now in order to add our black and white effects to the current raw image, all we can do is to add a black and white effect to our current raw image, all we can do is navigate to the right and select the tones panel right here. And inside the tones panel, you can see that we have black and white categories. Simply check on the checkbox on the left of black and white label, and as soon as we check on the checkbox, now you can see that Affinity has automatically applied our default black and white effect. So the next thing that we can do is tweak these individual color properties that you find inside of the black and white settings right here. So I'll start with the red one. So I'll simply click on this particular slider and drag it like so to adjust the red. So I'll simply maybe drag it to the right like so to make few details on the person who is sitting on top of the elephant to be much more visible. And then I'll next adjust the yellow color like so. So I'll keep the value of the yellow color to 128% as it has affected the areas or portion of these particular decorations on top of the elephant. And next I'll simply click and drag the green slider like so. And right now you can see that nothing is being affected inside of our photo. That's because there is a very limited or no number of green colors available in the image. So I'll simply bring the green slider to its default position, and we can do that by simply double clicking on this particular slider, and now you can see that our slider has been repositioned at the center. Next, I'll play with the cyan property by simply clicking and adjusting like so. And now you can see that few areas, for example, the areas here are changing. So I'll simply dim it down to create a contrast. And now let us adjust our blue slider. So I'll click and adjust the blue slider like so. And I'll set the value of blue to somewhere at, let's say, 116% for now. And next, what I will do is I'll adjust the magenta slider. So I'll simply click on the magenta slider and adjust it like so. And now you can see that it is adjusting the portion on the flower garland around the decoration of the elephant. So you can simply see that. You can simply adjust it like so a bit. And now you can again go back and play with each of the color slider settings right here. Maybe you can adjust the reds again. And if you want to reset all the values back to its normal position, then all we can do is simply click on this particular reset icon, and this will bring all the sliders to its default position, similar to how it was before we changed the slider inside the black and white settings. So the next thing is we can also adjust the curves. So let's click on the curves checkbox right here. And to basically understand the curves for now, everything to the right indicates the white or the brightest pixels or portion in the image, and everything to the left indicates the dark or shadowy portion of the image. So to adjust the curves, we can either create a new point and adjust the point by repositioning it in order to control the brightness and shadows of the image, or we can simply adjust the existing points as well. So if I click and drag this point, which is on the side of the brighter areas or in the image or brighter pixels in the image, you can see that now our image will be dark like so. So we don't want that. And if I simply click on this point and increase it, now you can see that the dark areas of the image will get brighter, or the shadowy areas of the image will get brighter like so. So we need to create a contrast for now. So in order to do that, I'll simply, first of all, create a point by simply clicking on the line right here, and I'll increase it a bit upward to add a bit brightness. And then similarly, I'll click on the point in this particular line at the bottom left position, and then next I'll simply click and drag it below like so to create a sense of contrast in our black and white effect. So now you can see that this is the before and this is the after. So I'll simply click on this uncollapse icon to uncollapse our curves option or curve settings. However, if you want to reset it, you can simply click on this icon in the curves panel. So for now, I'll simply uncollapse it by clicking on this icon, and I will collapse it for black and white as well. So this is how you can add a black and white effect inside of your raw images directly in the develop mode inside of Affinity. So whenever you click a photo with your professional cameras and bring it or import it directly inside Affinity, then if you want to add black and white effects inside of your images directly, then this is what you can do. And please make sure to play around the slider to get new kind of effects inside of the black and white effect. So if you find this video helpful, please click on the like button, and for more tips and tricks related to Affinity, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next video.